Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy T for 365 Horror, and this is a horror movie discovery channel. I am just here to put as many horror movies on your watch list as possible, and we are going to be looking at 7 brand new releases for you guys to watch and stream today. So let's get into it right now. Now we are going to get into the video, but before we do, I've got to remind you guys to please like and subscribe if you like this content. Also, this video is best watched with a movie tracker. I like to use Letterboxd. It's just the easiest way to keep track of the movies that you've seen and want to see. I also want to touch on the availability of these titles, as I have personally went to each one of the services and verified that these are available. And if you are having trouble seeing them, there is probably one of 2 reasons. One, you might be region locked. And the other reason is if you are using any of the alternative media sites or any of the free stuff, a lot of these movies just came out yesterday, so they really won't show up on those sites for a couple days. And lastly, this is just a preview. These are not reviews and recommendations. As always, I've included chapters and timestamps in the description, so if you don't like any of my trailer reactions or any of the movies I've picked, you're always free to skip to the next one. And if you did want some reviews and recommendations, I suggest you watch my Every Movie I Watched in a Month series, my You Should Watch series, or any of my movie list series. This here is just a little something for the diehards like me that are always looking for something new to watch. And with that, let's get right to the movies. So the first movie we're going to take a look at this week is a straight horror named Shadow of God. And this movie is available on Shudder and AMC+.
Do you know who I am?
While performing an unauthorized exorcism on his father, an elite exorcist suspects the entity he's doing battle with might be a holy being, perhaps even God. It is directed by Michael Peterson. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Shadow of God, this one looks like a middle-of-the-road possession horror. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares in the film, I really did feel like they were kind of light, and I just can't see anything really creepy or sticking with me from this movie. As for the gore, it looked pretty light and kind of non-existent as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't really a part or two, but I don't think there's going to be much at all. Now, unfortunately, when it came to the acting and production for this one, it was also just kind of a little bit meh. I mean, the production felt just a little bit B-movie-ish, which again doesn't inherently mean bad, but the acting also felt a little bit wooden. And I really think that some of the possession scenes just could have been a little bit better. Now, the story for this one would really be the only kind of holding interest point for me, because I do think it's a unique take on the situation where he's kind of exorcising a demon, which he then comes to think might be God. So that's kind of an interesting take. And why would God be possessing somebody, or just any of the kind of trappings that could come along with the film? So that part I did find a little bit interesting. Now, overall, besides an interesting premise, Shadow of God just felt a little bit meh to me, so I think it's going to get a regular to lower spot on my watch list.
How many exorcists have we now lost?
The Holy Spirit, you take us.
The last 24 hours have been strange.
What's wrong?
I thought I saw my father.
Mace, we saw him
I
die.
know.
Wait.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is an action horror thriller named Gates of Flesh, and this movie is available on Prime Video.
Not yet.
A group of friends attempts to escape the city after an outbreak of demon possessions. The friends seek shelter in an abandoned church, but their plans for escape are ruined when one of them becomes possessed. It is directed by Bob Giordano. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Gates of Flesh, this one definitely looks like a meh zombie possession horror. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares, I just didn't really see any, and I think that this one's going to be a bit of an action movie through and through, so I doubt we're going to get any real creeps or scares, but we might get some close calls and escape tension. Now, as for the gore, we saw some, but I just didn't really feel that much kind of overt in the trailer. I mean, you do see a lot of blood, but most of it is just kind of static and dried, so I just don't think that this is going to be a gory film at all. Now, the production for this one, while it didn't look just like totally campy, it did definitely have a B-movie-ish look. And the possessed characters, they did look all right, but I still felt, especially in some of the more possessed moments, that the acting did feel wooden. Now, as for the premise, again, meh. I mean, we just don't really get anything new here, and it just follows so many of those kind of classic tropes, like one person's infected, but nobody realizes it until everybody's locked in. Like, we just don't really get anything new here. Now, Gates of Flesh looks watchable, but still pretty subpar to me, so I think this one's going to get a lower to maybe even skip on my watch list.
What is this place?
We do it right. Fortress?
Do you know anyone that was infected? My entire apartment was overrun with those things. We go back out there without a plan? We're done.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a straight horror named The Cursed Tapes, and this movie is available on Prime Video. Clint inherits his father's old house, a chaotic mix of memories and belongings as he prepares for a series of garage sales to clear it out. Among the clutter, he discovers a door adorned with strange symbols, and while rummaging through the basement, he stumbles upon his father's old VHS collection, which begins to reveal the man his father truly was. But what he uncovers is far more disturbing. It is directed by Michael Crum. Okay, so after watching the trailer for The Cursed Tapes, this looks like an alright supernatural monster horror. Now, one of the bright spots that I did get from the trailer was at least the movie was attempting some creeps and scares, which was good. And even the musical score and some of the kind of scarier moments, it just had a really grating nature, and it kind of just made me anxious and had me, I'm going to say, lightly on edge. Now, as for gore, there wasn't really much in the trailer, so unless there's a bunch of kills they don't show, I just don't think that this, again, is going to be a very gory film. Now, acting and production-wise, the movie felt competent, and even though it was nothing to write home about, it was definitely a step above B-movie. Now, even when it comes to the premise, this is just something we've seen before. I mean, man inherits house, finds out his father has a dark secret's locked in the basement, he lets it free, and frights ensue. I mean, it's just nothing new. Now, one thing I did like is I did like the aesthetic of the chains and the door. It just... the way these heavy chains and the door is just like bowing under this almost force, it did make it feel more foreboding. And then when you do hear him kind of interacting with whatever's behind the door, I did kind of feel like maybe we could get some kind of interesting interaction between the two as the monster or he almost kind of bargains his freedom. Now, The Cursed Tapes doesn't look too bad, and it does look like it's going to be attempting some scares, so I think this one's going to get a regular to just a little bit of a lower spot on my watch list.
I just refuse to wake up.
One, two, three, four.
The next movie we're going to take a look at is a classic horror named Rumplestiltskin, and this movie's available on Apple TV and Prime Video. A miller lies about his daughter's gold spinning ability, while an imp helps her impress the king. She promises the imp her future child for continued aid. When payment comes due, the imp strikes a deal with the devil. It is directed by Andy Edwards. Okay, after watching the trailer for Rumplestiltskin, this one looks like an alright, classic, mythological monster horror. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares, it did have some kind of extremely light scares in the trailer, but I don't think that this movie is going to be a creeper at all. Now, as for the gore, I just didn't really see much gore in the trailer, so gore hounds are probably safe to skip this one. Now, when it came to the acting and the production in this film, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the Rumpelstiltskin character definitely looked okay, but overall, I just felt like it was kind of overacted, but still seemed watchable. Now, when it comes to the premise of the film, this is a very classic retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, and I did appreciate that because I feel like I haven't even heard of this character in decades until I saw the trailer. And I'm wondering, do kids still kind of read Rumpelstiltskin? Like, is that still a popular story? So it did end up being kind of a little bit of a nostalgic moment as I remembered it, just like, you know, memories rushing back from childhood. Now, Rumpelstiltskin looks like it's okay, maybe even a decent watch, especially if you want to kind of take in this retelling of a classic tale. But honestly, as a horror movie and just me kind of being excited about it, it wasn't really for me, so I think it's going to get a lower priority on my watch list.
There are wolves out here, and worse, much worse.
Spinning straw in the cold. It's remarkable, but it's true. That's this girl a spinning wheel.
Guards, there's something in here with me, guards!
What do you want from me, creature?
A human child.
My firstborn child shall be yours.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is an action horror mystery named Home Sweet Home Rebirth. And this movie is available on Apple TV and Google Play.
Your journey has just begun.
When a city is overrun with a demonically possessed crowd, a cop must find the source of evil to save his family. It is directed by Stephen Hacker and Alexander Kiesel. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Home Sweet Home Rebirth, this one looks like an alright zombie action survival horror. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares, this is another action movie through and through, so you may get some like good escape tension or a jump scare or two, but that's probably about it. Now, as for the gore, I didn't really see much in the trailer, but this movie is rated 18+, so it makes me think that we are going to get some really like brutal violence and injuries, being that this is an action horror. Now, the production overall for this one felt high. Definitely not a B movie, but it still kind of had this weird 80s, 90s kind of just veneer over the whole thing. All the way down to this kind of weird, cheesy monk that randomly just helps him through the story, saying lines like, "Jake, you are the keeper of the gates, and Jake, only you can close the gates to hell." So even though the premise was kind of interesting to me, like him going to another dimension and fighting these demons with some pretty good effects and I assume some good gory action, it still just felt a little too like action movie on the nose for me. Now, Home Sweet Home might do a good job of kind of scratching an action itch if you just want to like turn your brain off and watch some bullets fly. But for me, I do like a little bit more depth and a little bit kind of more of a creep or scare or gory or something that I can really hold on to. And I just didn't really feel it from this film. So I think Home Sweet Home is going to get a lower to skip on my watch list.
What's happening?
Get back in there, hide.
Where are all the bodies?
Alright, so the next movie on this list was brought to my attention by a viewer, and I'm glad that it's finally out, and that is the comedy horror mystery named Desert Fiends. And this movie's available on Prime Video. Six friends on their way to a concert break down in the middle of nowhere and encounter a deranged family that lives in the desert, killing anyone they come across. It is directed by Sean C. Phillips. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Desert Fiends, this one looks like a brutal, bloody, vulgar comedy slasher. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares of the film, I felt that they were really light, but that's pretty okay because when I watched the trailer, I just didn't really think that that was the focus of the film. Now, man, if you're a gorehound watching this list, you are going to be happy because when it comes to gore, this movie looks brutal and full of it. Like, honestly, this movie is total splatter film gore, and I could tell it right from the trailer. We're talking from acid baths where they show eaten away faces, to kids getting their heads punched off, to certain sensitive organs ejecting their liquids. I don't know. It was just raw and crazy. And honestly, I have a feeling that this movie is not going to be for the faint of heart. Now, when it comes to the production of the film, I really did think that they were going for this more grainy, old school vibe because it did embody it, but the acting from the characters, none of it really felt wooden. So I just didn't feel like kind of a low budget feel to the film. And I really enjoyed the raunchy writing, and I thought that it was really well done. So I thought that that definitely took it a step above B film. Now, when it comes to the premise for this film, I mean, I'm going to be honest, there's nothing really to write home about. Some kids are in the outback, they break down in the middle of nowhere, mutated, almost hill people just really want to kill them. But honestly, give it a chance because I really do think that the story for this movie is just going to be a vehicle for some smart, raunchy jokes and some really brutal, over-the-top gore. Now, honestly, this is probably going to be the complete gorehound part of me speaking, but when it comes to Desert Fiends, the movie looks super gross. I'm into that. It's got raunchy, dirty comedy. I'm into that. As long as it doesn't become too zany. That's the only thing that I could see kind of going south, is the movie just getting like a little bit too zany. But if the gore keeps up like the trailer, that will just keep me invested. So I think Desert Fiends is going to get a little bit of a higher priority on my watch list.
One of our company trucks with hazardous material has been abandoned in the desert dumping zone.
Kenny? Kenny, that you?
I need you guys to go out there, retrieve the truck, and clean up any mess out there.
All right, last movie we're going to take a look at this week, guys, is a straight horror named Saint Catherine. And this movie is available on Google Play and Apple TV. An orphan girl is rescued from a satanic ritual and taken to St. Catherine Institute for Homeless Youth. There, she will learn new skills while facing demons that stalk her. It is directed by Michael Escobedo and Juan de Dios Garduño and Hannah Kazim. Okay, so after watching the trailer for St. Catherine, this one looks like it could be an all-right demonic horror. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares, I was happy that this film does look like it's going to at least attempt them. I just don't know why, but just from the way the trailer rolled, I didn't have like a ton of faith that the scares were going to be effective. Because, I mean, you do see one or two glimpses of the demon, but just costume-wise and makeup-wise, it just didn't look that kind of impressive to me, so it just didn't hold any creep or scare at all. Now, when it comes to the gore in the film, I do think that this movie is going to have some gore in it, although I don't think that it's going to be like a splatter film. I think it's going to be pretty gory overall. Now, the acting and the production in this one was okay and didn't really leave me anything to complain about, but it was really hard to kind of ascertain exactly a feel for the movie or what it was about when there was just no dialogue in the trailer. And the premise seems alright, but again, just nothing really too out of the box here. Now, I reckon that there was little to no dialogue in the trailer because I think that this movie is going to be subtitled. Like when I looked it up, it said it had English subtitles. I know that's not always indicative, but I just couldn't look right into the movie. But even the chanting in the movie and everything about it was kind of not in English. So I know some of you don't really like subtitled movies, so I did want you to be warned for that before you got too excited to watch this one. Now, St. Catherine does look like a little bit of a dark kind of bloody movie, but again, I just kind of rolled my eyes at the demon, so I think this one's going to get a little bit of a lower spot on my watch list.
You're free now.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of brand new releases for you guys to watch and stream. I know it was a little bit of a lackluster week and we didn't have a lot of good movies, but still, if you at least found a couple of gems for your watch list, please leave me a like and subscribe. Now, if I had to make a couple of picks this week, for sure it is slim pickings, but the first one isn't really a pity pick, and that is Desert Fiends. I just think that this movie looks insanely gory. It looks super raunchy. Like I said, man, there's certain elements, I got a video idea, but there's certain elements when I see them in the movie, I know the movie's going to be raw. And one of them is male full frontal nudity, and one of the characters literally is that phallic image and the things that the character does. Like, this is going to be a little bit over the top. So I don't know if you really want to watch this one with young people. Like, I just, it looked so crazily raw. And so that, honestly, just the shock factor of the gore is the reason why that's going to be my first pick of the week. And my second pick of the week, and let's be honest, this was kind of a little bit of a lackluster week, so this one is a bit of a pity pick, but that is going to be The Cursed Tapes. I just thought while the movie only looked okay, at least it had like a little bit of semblance of creeps and scares. I thought the art direction was good, as far as especially the sound direction. Just when it first shows the monster and just that like, it's just so loud, I was just like, just kind of, it didn't really get to me, but it kind of got to me. And then some of the way the monsters were turning with their eyes, like one or two of the scenes, it looked a little more CGI than I liked, but it still had a little bit of an air of creepiness to it. So honestly, in a week of movies that are just not that good besides Desert Fiends, I think that's going to be my second pick of the week. Well, guys, that's going to do it for me. I've got to get out of here, as I have got a couple movies to watch. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Thank you. I hope you guys have been good and taking care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Fetch me the dick syringe. It's time for me to get pregnant.